this is how I remember the colour scheme on FTO. So I've got the first block solved here already, but the way I remember the white centre, which is the centre I started on, was that it goes purple, blue, green, purple, blue, green. So I just memorised it, and it was easy since it's just descending. So if you use a different colour scheme, just I don't know how you remember it, but that's how I remember it. So the next thing I remembered, I started was with red face, sorry. So the way I remembered this was that I'd think of yellow being here and what goes here. So I just had that memorised for each face. So for example, that's green. And then I'd always tend to go clockwise at first. So yeah, and then the same thing again. So I'd always tend to go to this centre first, and I just knew that was grey. So when this is here, what goes here? Well, it's blue. As you could tell if you see that green solved. So yeah, so as you can see, I just remember that. And then the same thing for orange, which is purple. So yeah, so you just need to know what order your E centres go relative to each other and the edge placement, and that's how I remembered it. It went red, grey, orange, red, grey, orange. So eventually, you can get used to starting that at any point. Yeah, so that's pretty basic. I'm sure most people will understand that. Now, going to 4-colour. Now this is how I remembered it. So the first centre should be quite easy if you're a bit more inexperienced with this, because all you need to do is, for example, let's see grey here. What colour is this? This is green. So the way that I remember the order of them is that if it's like here, then it goes yellow, and there's yellow. I mean, however you remember the order of your E centre edge placement, you can use that in order to get the centre solved correctly. That's relatively simple. Yeah, like so. So I'll just insert corners maybe rather than solving full triples, but that one was pretty easy. I just want to go for the full triple. Okay, now I solved the grey centre. Now this rule applies to all the centres. Now if you think about what colours are left, well, it's orange and red, because white replaced grey. Now, I'll just solve the red centre first, just because that's what I did on the last attempt. And of course, purple goes on the opposite side of grey, but I'll discuss that later. So, and yeah, so next colour that you would have normally is grey up here and orange back here. But here's the thing. You may think orange would go here if you were solving on white, but we're solving on grey. So therefore orange, in fact, doesn't go where it would go if we were solving on white, but in the opposite position. So instead it goes here. So the positions swap. So that's the way to remember your E centre placement. The two colours that exist swap places relative to how they are on white. Now the last thing I'll quickly discuss before talking about the fifth and then 5-colour and 8-colour is opposite colours. So this depends on your colour scheme, but the way I remember the Landland is white opposite yellow and purple opposite grey. So that's standard 3x3, and the two colours not in 3x3 are opposite each other. But then blue's opposite red and green's opposite orange. So the way I remembered that is blue and red are primary colours, green and orange are secondary colours. So that's pretty easy. Just use whatever you need for your colour scheme. Now, if we look at an FTO, if we want to add yellow, and you already know white, these are your edges, and these are your E-size centres. Now if we flip it around, those two swap around. So now the colours that are your E centres are now edges, and vice versa. So when going to yellow, the way to know your edge placement is it's your E centre placement going clockwise. So for example, this going clockwise is the same. So if we think of it as clockwise as red, grey, orange. And if we hold this in the right way, red, grey, orange. Hang on. Yeah. So that's easy. Next is the E-centers. So let's just start with blue. Now I'll think of having white, I thought of it as having white here, and then I realised it's blue. So, here's the way to think about it. So, when we have yellow here for orange, purple's here. But now if we flip it, white, purple. So as you can see, it just effectively flips the edge. So adding yellow is potentially quite easy if you know white. So adding the opposite colour with this method memorising. So, so as you can see, purple has orange on top, much like orange had purple on top when you have the white centre on the left. So the centre there, that's the white face when it's solved. Now, since we solved purple, when we go around clockwise on the edges on white, I know blue is next. So now we solve blue. So, white's here, so we need grey here. Much like grey, blue is on the top for the grey centre when yellow is on the left. So yeah. And like so. And then you just remember your next three colours, much like you did for four colour. So basically, to summarise, I pre-memorise for white the edge placement, and then the E-centre placement, which also involve which edge is on top when you've got it correctly oriented. And then from that, for four colour, you just change the order of the E-centres depending on if you solve white or not, so relative to white. And then for yellow, it's actually quite a bit easier because you just flip a few things. Yeah, I hope that was clear.